everyone, welcome to Aphasia 101, What You Wish You Knew. This presentation was created after asking individuals with aphasia and their loved ones, what do you wish you knew about aphasia? What do you wish healthcare professionals told you when you or your loved one first received their diagnosis of aphasia? My name is Jacqueline Alvarado. I'm a speech-language pathologist with over 14 years of experience. I've worked in a variety of settings to include hospital, inpatient rehab, acute care, outpatient, home health, and now I'm the owner of a private practice and the founder of the El Paso Aphasia Connection Center, which is a nonprofit here in El Paso, Texas. My passion is working with people who have aphasia and their loved ones and helping them find the support and the education that they need in their recovery. My mission is to create inclusive online courses for individuals who have aphasia and their loved ones to foster the education, the connection, and ultimately improve communication skills for a better quality of life. So together we can elevate lives and communication for those with aphasia. Our agenda for today is to discuss what is aphasia, discuss the different types of aphasia, other factors that you may have heard of, such as Dysarthria and Apraxia, and then discuss the hope for the future. So first of all, what is aphasia? Aphasia is a loss of language that can happen after a stroke, a brain injury, a tumor, an infection, or even after the diagnosis of dementia. It can affect someone's ability to understand language, their ability to comprehend what someone is saying, their ability to follow directions, to answer yes and no questions appropriately or correctly. It can impact somebody's ability to speak and talk, their ability to say words and express what their wants, needs, and preferences are. It may affect reading and their ability to write as well. And so aphasia is very complex and it requires a thorough and comprehensive evaluation by a speech-language pathologist. And so during the evaluation, the speech-language pathologist will determine the severity, whether aphasia may be mild, moderate, severe, or profound, and which domains of language are affected. Not every person with aphasia presents the same way. Every person with aphasia has their own unique strengths and their unique challenges. Before we continue talking about the different types of aphasia, we really need to discuss what aphasia is not. Aphasia does not affect someone's intelligence. A person with aphasia's intelligence is still intact, even though they have difficulty communicating. Their memory is intact, and their ability to solve problems is still intact. A person with aphasia is still a competent, intelligent adult and should be treated as such. So there are actually 8 different types of aphasia, but we're just going to discuss 3 most common types of aphasia. And like I mentioned earlier, a diagnosis of aphasia should not be taken or given very lightly. It really requires a thorough evaluation to determine and classify the type of aphasia appropriately. So the most severe form of aphasia is called global aphasia. And this is where comprehension, so the person's ability to understand, their ability to speak, and their ability to repeat is affected. So Wernicke's aphasia is actually very interesting because the person with aphasia is able to speak and their words come out fluently. However, their comprehension is impaired. So a lot of people who have Wernicke's aphasia may speak and say words, but their words lack content and they don't make sense. The person with aphasia, with Wernicke's aphasia, may also be unaware that what they're saying isn't understandable, or what they're saying does not make sense. A person with Wernicke's aphasia may also have difficulty repeating words, phrases, sentences during speech therapy tasks. In Broca's aphasia, the person with aphasia understands and has intact comprehension. That means that when you're speaking to them, they have a level of understanding about what you're saying. Now, their speaking or their ability to communicate and say the words is impaired, and their repetition or ability to repeat sounds, words, and sentences may also be impaired. So, like I said earlier, there's also a form of aphasia that is related to dementia. This is going to present a little bit differently because it is not a form of aphasia that is related to a sudden injury, such as a stroke or brain injury. This is going to be a loss of language that is progressive and noted very, very gradually. This is known as primary progressive aphasia. And now this type of aphasia, primary progressive aphasia that is related to dementia, may affect someone's intelligence. It may affect their memory, so maybe their short-term and their long-term memory, and it may affect their ability to solve daily problems. So now let's discuss what the difference is between aphasia and other terms such as apraxia and dysarthria. So very simply, aphasia affects words. Aphasia affects the ability to communicate fluently, speak, express your wants, needs, and preferences because you have difficulty retrieving the words and expressing yourself verbally. Now, apraxia and dysarthria, I like to say, affects the sounds of the words. And so for the most part, depending on the severity of the apraxia or dysarthria, someone may be able to say a word, however, the sounds come out incorrectly. So apraxia and dysarthria can co-occur with aphasia. Someone may have a diagnosis of aphasia and also have a diagnosis of apraxia and or have a diagnosis of dysarthria. So it's suggested that anywhere between 30 to 50% of people with aphasia may also have apraxia of speech, and 20 to 30% of people with aphasia may also have a form of dysarthria. And just like we talked about aphasia being very complex and having different types of aphasia, the same exists with apraxia and dysarthria. There are different severity levels, mild, moderate, severe, and profound, and there are different types of dysarthrias that would require different forms of treatment. So dysarthria is a condition where the muscles that are used for speaking are weak, and they have difficulty moving. So for example, the person may have an idea of what they want to say. Their brain sequences the sounds, the words, the sentence, and sends the message to the articulators, which are the tongue, the lips, the mouth. But because of the weakness of those muscles, the speech comes out slurred, slow, difficult to understand. Dysarthria may also affect someone's vocal quality, so they may sound hoarse, breathy. They may have a lower volume or speak at a lower volume than they did before. And now apraxia is different than muscle weakness. This is where the person has difficulty planning and coordinating the movements that they need for speech. So once again, everything starts with an idea of what they want to say, maybe a word, a phrase, or a sentence, and the brain attempts to sequence the sounds together and the words, but the brain sends an incorrect sequence to the articulators. So there's poor coordination between the tongue, the lips, the mouth to be able to produce the words that they want to say. And so therefore it results in errors, in sound errors in the words. You may see somebody with apraxia moving their lips and mouth before they produce the word in attempt to find the correct placement or the correct start to produce the word. And so, for example, a classic marker for apraxia is that the airs are highly inconsistent. So, for example, someone with apraxia may want to say cat, but when they say it, it sounds like tat, and then it sounds like gat, and then they say fat. And so the airs are inconsistent, and they may change after each production. So my goal is to really emphasize how communication is a shared responsibility. I tell my clients and their loved ones that aphasia exists between two people. The person who had the stroke, the brain injury, the infection does not have aphasia by themselves. Aphasia exists between two people. So communication partners such as spouses, partners, kids, friends, medical professionals should all be educated on aphasia and should all be educated on communication strategies and techniques to have better conversations with your loved one with aphasia. So, knowledge is power. The more that you know about aphasia, the better advocacy for you and for your loved one. Let's talk about hope for the future. There are individual speech therapy services that you can find through an outpatient facility. These are going to be one-on-one services provided by a speech language pathologist where a comprehensive evaluation is completed. Goals are discussed together with the person who has aphasia and their loved ones to really, really discuss what is important for that person to address in speech therapy. Now, there's intensive speech therapy services, which is not typically covered by commercial insurances or insurances and is typically paid out of pocket. This is speech therapy that can range anywhere from 3 to 6 hours a day for 5 days a week and occur for 3+ weeks. And so these services are often provided by specialty clinics or specialty centers that are focused on aphasia rehabilitation. And so the other opportunity is to find an aphasia community. There are plenty of online aphasia resources, online groups, support groups, and communication groups, and also local aphasia centers that you can find in your area. My plea is for you all to continue to advocate for continued speech therapy services. It's important to continue to seek therapy with a licensed speech language pathologist, but to find yourself involved in a community where you can find the support that you need to continue your journey with aphasia. Thank you for letting me be a part of your aphasia journey. I'm glad that you found this video, and I'm looking forward to making more content for you.